you doing out there? Welcome to Lesson 31. This is Dave Hill. Thanks for tuning in. I was trying to show you something there in the video that I want to talk about today. Probably noticed the way I was playing over this progression was kind of odd. A little bit odd because what I was doing was almost not really the conventional way of looking at playing over a progression like that, a simple diatonic progression. I was only playing on a couple of strings on my guitar. I was doing that for a particular purpose, okay? It's good to develop vocabulary and the ability to improvise and play through chords while not always having to stay in a position to do it. Okay, what I mean is you've got to practice learning how to connect your scale patterns up and down the neck horizontally and not just staying in a vertical pattern. Okay? And if you get good at seeing your major scales, right? If you can see your major scales really effectively, I've got all the major scales written above us here that we've already learned and we've been working on and you will continue to work on for many, many years. But if you see the scales not just in systems of shapes, but you also see them along groups of strings, then it kind of encourages and inspires you to play and practice playing melodies in different ways. So sometimes what I might do is I might just try to see if I can make a melody happen along, let's say, the B and the G string. Okay, so it's almost like I don't see anything else but these two strings as I'm going through the patterns. I just see two strings at a time, okay? And how does that affect my playing? Well, it keeps me moving a lot more, obviously, if I want to try to create melodies. And in a way, it kind of slows me down because I'm having to play up and down the neck, okay? But that also keeps me from playing a little bit more contrived or obvious licks, okay? Because I don't have access to my vocabulary the same way when I'm moving out of positions all the time, okay? But that shouldn't impede my ability to play music, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at. You should still be able to play music this way, and it encourages a different kind of playing. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to start on a note here like I did in the beginning of my solo. And if you want to follow along, there's the progression we're using right here for our demonstration, okay? It's kind of a fun little progression. I don't know if you heard it. Kind of reminds me of a lot of things, but I'll show you how to play the riff here in a minute. But I want you to see that even though it's all in A minor, which is the same thing as these are all major scales over here, but every one of these major scales could be a minor, the relative minor. In other words, if this is C, then A minor is the relative minor, and that's what this progression is based off of. So all of these major scales here, the roots are circled, but if you want to make them all minor, then the root would be the minor third below. Okay, so that would be how these scales would relate. But it's the same thing as playing C major or A minor. But what I want to show you now, once again, is the up and down movement of my playing. See if you can follow melody, even though I'm still reducing what I can play to only a couple of strings, okay? 3, 4. Other than that little crash there, for the most part, I was playing totally with my ear and using almost pretty much one string. I mean, I was playing along with the G string a little bit, now and again, but I was pretty much playing the B string, okay? But that didn't affect my ability to make melodies, and I think you could tell when I was playing if I made a good melody or not, okay? Now you can do that on any set of strings. I could do it, let's say, on the bottom, let's say the 5th string and the 4th string. I could just look at these two groups of strings and make my melodies happen along these strings. It's going to sound a little different because I'm going to be on the wound strings there, but it won't be any harder. It'll be just as challenging or effortless depending upon how skillful I am with my knowledge of my scales. Maybe I'll even start in maybe just connecting 2 positions. Just see if I can do that. That would reduce the amount of places I could even go. Let's say I was going to do that, and then eventually I bring myself up the neck. Let me see how that would work, okay? 3, 4. Because now, if I want to bend strings, it's difficult. I mean, I'm bending a D string way up there, right? But imagine what this is going to do for your playing too. It'll open up, even though it's got challenges to it right now, it'll open up your concept of melody and allow you to play in different ways and not just get stuck in boxes, okay? So now if I bring in the 2 bottom strings and the 2 middle strings, now all of a sudden I'm going to feel like I have, 12 strings or something. I can really start to see melody now because it's been so limiting up till now. Okay, so that could be another concept. So I'm just going to play the middle 4 strings. I'm not going to play my E strings. Okay, so check that out. Now I'll feel like I'm wearing like some new underwear all of a sudden. Okay, here we go. 3, 4. Okay, so it was much easier for me to find melodies now, practicing that way initially to get my ear hearing melodies along the string. Okay, so it's really good for you to do that. It's fun to practice that way, and it gives you different ways of looking at making music. It's not always about playing in boxes and shapes. And in fact, within the first few bars of me playing the progression, I played a lick, right? I played something like, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It sounds fine. But if your playing is primarily generated, the melodies and the things that you play from your guitar are generally created from playing licks and not melodies with your ear, you're not always connected with the music that's happening around you. You're just letting your fingers play your guitar. So you're trying to connect with both things. You're trying to have a good sense of your vocabulary and understanding of what's going to sound good because you have cool licks, but you also want to let your ear guide you through the music. Okay? So let me show you the riff to the chord progression because it's kind of a fun thing to play anyway. Just 1 second. Okay, so the idea with the riff that I made up for the chord progression was kind of inspired from another song that I was going to show in some other lessons. And that's the idea of taking a chord like this, instead of playing it in the typical open position, playing it like this because it's going to allow your middle fingers to become involved with a melody on the bass. Okay, so that's what I did. I took this A minor shape and I put it together like this. Okay, so now I'm going to have this. Okay, now I have something that's got a little melody inside of the chords. Okay, check it out again. See how I have the open A? And then I go down to the G bass notes. And then I play the F. And I have a partial F chord. There's my G sound. Okay, let me show you that again. This is also going to be a PDF that you can download with this lesson so you can see the phrase more clearly. Okay? It just has a much more melodic and interesting sound to the chords than just playing. You'd agree with it. It sounds a little bit more interesting. Let's try that now with the sequencer. Well, let's try it without the sequencer first, just in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Takes us through the opening repeat there, and that's actually 4 times. I didn't write that on the end of my bar there, but this is, in reality, this is actually a 4-time repeat here, not just twice. Okay, and then on the second half of my progression, I straighten out a little bit more and just kind of play a little bit more traditional rhythm. Just so there's a little bit of a contrast. Okay, so why don't you try the rhythm with the sequencer now? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's your chordal riff too. It's kind of fun to learn that along the way in this lesson. Okay, so the last thing I would say about these ideas here is also to find ways to play like a little shape up the neck. That would be another way of creating a pattern you might find along the way. So let me see if I can point that out. If I take a major scale now, and I know that I'm playing in the key of A minor right here, I might try to find all the different ways that I can see one common shape in my fretboard and move it through the patterns of the major scale, okay? So check this out. I might even be able to play, I might be able to play this particular shape right here, this combination of notes. In pretty much every position of a major scale, I can find this shape all the way up. I can find this exact shape, right? In this case, where's my major scale? That would be, yeah, right here. There it is, boom, 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 right? I go to my next shape, it's going to be right here, and there it is in this combination, 1, 2, 3. Actually, yeah, this shape right here is on my fretboard right here. So what I'm getting at is you can find a common shape in your major scales and have a lot of fun with it this way. So check it out. I'm going to finish off with this. Here we go. 3, 4. I hope you had a good lesson. That was kind of fun. We're going to do some more of that stuff on some other lessons. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one. Practice those shapes along the strings and try to make that as musical as it would be staying in one position. All right. See you later.